All right, everybody, so here we are again. It's everybody's favorite time. Let's go into the muscle manual. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, that was my intro music right there. Usually funnier than that, but apparently not that funny today. So we can see a whole bunch of layers of muscles. On the top of the foot, which we're going to have our fantastic model with her excellent ankle mobility turned to the side, we have two main muscles that we should be aware of. Extensor hallucis and extensor digitorum brevis. Both of those are brevis muscles, and they're running out, going to their respective toes, running out through here. And if she extends her toes, you can see, bam, massive contraction of that muscle right there. You can tell she's been working this muscle out for quite a long time. Pretty much Olympic level athlete right here that we're looking at, okay? All right, so then if we look at the bottom of the foot, now we can go ahead and look at the multiple layers we have to go through. There are three main layers of the foot and then one layer deep to that we should talk about. So to start with, we should identify some of the landmarks. We should talk about some of the landmarks that we should be able to find our way through here. So we can see her foot, and in fact, oh my God, this is exactly your side right here. Okay? So we can go ahead and see her calcaneus down here at the bottom. We can see the cuboid over on the side right here. We can see navicular, medial cuneiform, intermediate, and lateral cuneiforms. Metacarpals running down into metatarsals, pardon me, running down into the phalanges here, and you can see the sesamoid bones on this great model here. So most of this is hidden. When we look at the bottom of the foot, I'll put a little cadaver dissection video up here where you can see the different layers through the thickest skin of your body, which is located on the bottom of your foot, plus a thick fat pad on the bottom of your heel, especially to absorb shock, and then you start to get into your layers. And the first layer you run into is actually the plantar fascia. For those of us who talk about plantar fasciitis, if I extend her toes like this, you can see a little bit of tension comes up there. That's really the long extensors, but it lifts up the plantar fascia as well. So if we bring her back to neutral, if I was to peel off the plantar fascia, then I would see this muscle labeled number 4 right here called flexor digitorum brevis. Say it with me with a smile. Flexor digitorum brevis. All right, and if we peel that muscle off, then we'd see another muscle deep in there called quadratus plantae. Say it with me. Quadratus plantae. And now this muscle is interesting because it actually inserts onto the tendon of flexor digitorum longus. And what it does, there's no equivalent muscle of this muscle in your hand. So this is where your foot actually has an extra muscle that your hand doesn't have. And the purpose of that muscle is to pull straight back. And if we take those muscle layers off, we can see some deeper muscles in that area, but I'm going to break them down for you one at a time right here as we flip through the pages. Again, why do I like this layout so much? Because it shows you comparing and contrasting where all of the muscles attach when you're looking at them. So the first one is going to be abductor hallucis. What does hallucis mean? Big toe. Okay, so whenever you see hallucis, that means big toe. As opposed to pollicis, what does that mean? Thumb. So here we have the abductor hallucis. It comes off of your calcaneus and goes to the base of the first phalange, or proximal phalange. So it's coming off of your calcaneus, like right here. Uh-oh. Is it okay if I draw on the bottom of your foot? Yeah. Okay. All right, it comes off the calcaneus like right here, and it runs all the way up, and that tickles. Okay, I need a better marker for this, but we can see how it would run all the way up to there. If I palpated through, this is going to be that abductor muscle. Now these ones are tricky to test on people because they often don't have good motor control in their feet. Okay, they don't have good motor control in their feet, but this is how that muscle runs, all the way up to right about there. So we'll put some fibers across like this. But you already know from the name, abductor hallucis, what does it tell you it's going to do? Abduction. And that's going to pull the big toe this way. So she's going to hold her big toe there, and I'm going to try and bring it back. Don't let me do it. Hold, and relax. Okay? So that's the abductor hallucis. If we go to the opposite side, we have abductor digiti minimi. Wait a minute. Isn't there another abductor digiti minimi? Mm-hmm. Yeah. On the hand. On the hand. So this one sometimes is called pedis as well, but hopefully when a real person walks into your office, you can tell the difference between a hand or a foot, and you don't need the pedis or manus on it. Again, coming off of the calcaneus right here, and it's going to run up to the base of the proximal phalange of the little toe. So it attaches right there, and this muscle is going to have fiber direction that runs up like this, fiber direction that runs up like that. And the name says abductor digiti minimi, so she's spread. Excellent. This is actually so good. I might be able to interlock my fingers in these toes and say, hey, can you do this and like that for the upper, like we do for the upper extremity? Awesome sauce. Okay. All right. Keep that pinky toe out to the side. I'm going to try and push it this way. Don't let me do it. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that would be a muscle test of that muscle. Next one is going to be flexor digitorum brevis. Okay, flexor digitorum brevis. So we've taken off the plantar fascia, coming off of the calcaneus, and it runs to the base of all of these intermediate phalanges of all of the toes, intermediate phalanges. So it's coming off of right here, and it runs straight up with fiber directions coming back like this. Okay, back to the calcaneus. And if you wanted to muscle test this one, you would stabilize on the intermediate phalange, have her flex her toes a little bit. I'm going to try and straighten them out. Don't do it. So hold, 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 and relax. And usually you'll find really good strength with those as well when you're running through. So that is your layer 1 of the foot. It is abductor hallucis, abductor digiti minimi, and flexor digitorum brevis. If we peel this layer off and then we go deeper, we get a new muscle called quadratus plantae. And that's the one we talked about before. I'll just draw this in black right here. This is the tendon of flexor digitorum longus coming around the medial side of your ankle and would also run up and send fibers that run to each of the toes as well, the distal phalanges. But if we look at this, we can see another muscle that inserts onto that called quadratus plantae, and it's going to run and connect back to your calcaneus right here. If you didn't have a quadratus plantae, when you contracted your toes, all of your toes would pull over to this side like this. So when you pull straight back, quadratus plantae pulls you straight back as well. So you check that muscle when you check flexor digitorum longus. So hold your toes there. I'm going to bring them back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and good. Next thing is going to be the lumbricals that are also on that second layer. But wait a minute, there's lumbricals in the hand that you know, right? What do the lumbricals of the hand do? This action right here. Lumbricals of the foot do the same thing. Unfortunately, the vast majority of us do not have good enough coordination to do that in the foot. So if you just bring your toes down, I try and straighten them out. That'll be a check of the lumbricals. Or I can palpate where I feel roughly those tendons are. But again, you're palpating through really thick skin to be able to find that. Okay? All right. Flipping the page into layer number 3, we have some new muscles here that are unique on the bottom of the foot. One of them we can see is flexor hallucis brevis. Say it with me with a smile. Flexor hallucis brevis. And what is it doing? It's coming mainly off of the cuneiforms and cuboid. Cuneiform and cuboid over on this side, and it's going to run up, and it's really controlling your big toe. You have to have a lot of muscle power over top of your big toe. It's the last part of your body that actually touches the ground for most people when you take a step. And it's going to run on the medial and lateral side, running down like this around that proximal phalange of the big toe, and then coming towards this area right here where its fibers are attaching. Okay, it does tickle. Okay, yeah. All right, and so that's going to be flexor hallucis brevis. Next one on our list is going to be flexor digiti minimi. Okay, it's going to be a super small one, kind of running in the same area here. But what does it do? It's coming off of this 5th metatarsal right here, and it goes to the base of the proximal phalange, and it runs down like this. Relatively short muscle compared to the abductor digiti minimi. And what does it do? Flexes that pinky toe. So we're going to hold it flexed. I'm going to bring you back. Hold hard. And almost nobody has good control here, okay? So, all right, okay? And you got to say, this little piggy went to market. This little piggy, wee. Okay? All right, and then the last layer that we have to get through is the interossei muscles that are the same as the interossei muscles of the hand pretty much. So again, you would palpate in between the bones, and that's where they are, and they do the same action. Dorsal interossei abduct, palmar interossei adduct, and bring the toes back together. And she actually has excellent motor control of her feet, so just taking your fingers or your toes and spreading them farther apart like that, fantastic. Again, you can look at the specific origins and insertions right there. If you were asked to palpate them, just ask the person to spread their toes. Dorsal interossei are doing that abduction, and I could try, keep your toes spread, I could try and bring them back together and see if she could hold that position right there, okay? And you can go ahead and bring your toes together if you want. I'm going to try and spread them apart. Don't let me do it. And this is going to be the palmar or plantar interossei, okay? Plantar interossei in this case. So spreading of the toes, bringing the toes back together. And that takes you through all 4 layers of the foot. There are more muscles in your foot than there are in your hand. Absolutely an amazing fact right there. All right, thank you very much for your time. If you found that useful, good stuff.